Imagine watching your golf ball roll toward the hole. It reaches the cup, it hangs on the edge, and then, after what feels like forever, it drops. You think you've just made an incredible birdie, but instead of celebrating, you discover something shocking. You've been given a penalty stroke. That is exactly what happened to PGA Tour winner Sahith Theegala at the BMW Championship. And this bizarre moment may have cost him thousands of dollars. And once you understand the rule behind it, you might be just as frustrated as Theegala. Before we get into exactly what happened, make sure you subscribe to Golf Stories for more unbelievable moments, controversies, and stories from the world of professional golf. Now, let's go back to the BMW Championship. Theegala was fighting to keep his season alive. The BMW Championship isn't just another tournament. It's one of the biggest events of the FedExCup playoffs, and only the top 30 players in the standings after this event advanced to the Tour Championship. So every single shot mattered. And then came the par 3 13th. Theegala hit his tee shot to around 22 feet. He had a realistic birdie opportunity. He stepped over the putt and struck it. The ball rolled toward the hole. It reached the cup, and then something crazy happened. The ball didn't immediately fall. It appeared to be hanging right on the lip. Theegala and everyone around him waited and waited. Then, the ball finally dropped. Normally, that's the kind of moment where a player pumps his fist and walks to the next tee. But there was a problem. A very important problem. The ball had taken too long to fall. Under golf's Rule 13.3a, when a ball is overhanging the hole, the player gets a reasonable amount of time to reach the hole, plus an additional 10 seconds. If the ball falls within that period, the previous stroke counts and the player has successfully holed out. But if the ball falls after that additional time expires, there's a penalty. 1 stroke. And that's exactly what happened to Theegala. Instead of the putt counting as a birdie, he was assessed a penalty stroke. So what looked like an incredible birdie suddenly became a par. Think about how brutal that is. The ball literally went into the hole, and he still got penalized. And the consequences weren't just about his scorecard, they were financial. Theegala eventually finished tied for 41st at even par. That position paid approximately $92,000. A 1-under finish and a higher placing would have put him around the $106,000 payout range. So while it's not technically accurate to say he lost a $106,000 check, the penalty potentially cost him the opportunity to earn that amount. The difference was around $14,000, all because a golf ball took a few extra seconds to fall. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. Most casual golf fans probably had no idea that this rule even existed. You see a ball fall into the cup and instinctively think, that's a birdie. But professional golf doesn't work that way. There are rules for almost everything. Where the ball is, how long it can move, what happens if it hits a player, what happens if it hits another ball almost poke, and apparently, how long it takes to fall into the hole. For Theegala, this wasn't just an embarrassing moment. The BMW Championship was also his last event of the season. He needed a strong finish to keep his FedExCup hopes alive, but his T41 finish wasn't enough to get him into the top 30 for the Tour Championship. So one strange moment on the 13th hole became part of a much bigger disappointment. And here's the question. Was the rule fair? Technically, yes. The rule is there to provide a clear time limit and prevent players from waiting indefinitely for a ball to fall. But from a fan's perspective, it's incredibly harsh. The ball went in. The player didn't touch it. Nobody interfered with it. Gravity did the work. Yet Theegala was still punished because it took too long. And that's exactly why moments like this become so controversial. Golf is supposed to be a game of inches, but sometimes it's a game of seconds too. And for Sahith Theegala, those few seconds may have cost him a better finish, thousands of dollars, and ultimately his chance to continue his FedExCup season. So the next time you see a golf ball hanging on the lip, don't celebrate too early. Because if it finally drops after the clock has effectively run out, that birdie might not be a birdie at all. What do you think? Should Theegala have been penalized, or is this one of the most brutal rules in professional golf? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to Golf Stories, because in professional golf, sometimes the strangest moments happen when you least expect them.